Most people enter the market to make money, but end up losing it, not because the market is hard, but because they don't understand themselves. In Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, the story of Jesse Livermore reveals a powerful truth. Money is not just about strategy, it's about psychology. In this video, you'll discover 6 powerful lessons about real-life mistakes, human behavior, and the mindset required to survive and grow in the world of money. Because in the end, the market doesn't decide your success, your mind does. Most people enter the market with one simple goal: to make money. They study charts, they learn strategies, they watch countless videos, and slowly, they start believing that success in trading is just one perfect strategy away. But what they don't realize is this: the market is not designed to reward intelligence. It is designed to test discipline. And this is where the first and most important lesson begins. Because in Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, through the journey of Jesse Livermore, we see something deeper than charts. We see a man who understood the market, but struggled to control himself. At the beginning, Livermore was not driven by greed. He was driven by curiosity. He observed patterns. He studied price movements. He respected the market. And because of that, he started winning. Small wins turned into bigger wins, and slowly confidence began to grow. Now understand this clearly. Confidence is necessary. Without confidence, you will never take action. But the moment confidence turns into certainty, you stop respecting risk. And the moment you stop respecting risk, the market begins to teach you a lesson. This is the first mistake most people make. They don't lose money because they don't know enough. They lose money because they start believing they know everything. At first, they follow rules. They wait patiently. They manage risk. But after a few wins, something changes. They start taking bigger risks. They stop using stop loss. They believe they can predict the market. And slowly, discipline disappears. This is not a strategy problem. This is a psychology problem. Let's break this down in real life. Imagine someone starts with $1,000. They follow a simple strategy, risking only 1 to 2% per trade. They make a few good trades, and now their account grows to $1,200, $1,500, maybe $2,000. Now, instead of thinking, I should stay consistent, they start thinking, what if I go bigger? This is where greed enters silently, not as a loud emotion, but as a small thought. A little more risk won't hurt, and that one thought starts a chain reaction. They increase their position size, they ignore their rules, they take trades they normally wouldn't take, and then one bad trade happens. Now, instead of accepting the loss, they try to recover it quickly. They take another trade, this time with even more risk. Now fear enters. Their decisions are no longer logical, they are emotional, and within a short time, all the profits they made disappear. Sometimes even the capital is gone. This is the cycle. Win to overconfidence, to bigger risk, to loss, to emotional trading, to bigger loss. And the most dangerous part is, it feels normal, because it doesn't happen instantly. It happens gradually. This is exactly what happened, again and again, in the life of Jesse Livermore. He didn't fail because he lacked knowledge. He failed because he couldn't stay disciplined. He knew what to do, but he didn't always do what he knew. And this is something every trader faces. So what is the real lesson here? The real lesson is this: trading is not about predicting the market. It is about controlling your behavior, because the market will always do something unexpected. But your reaction, that is where your control lies. If you cannot control your greed, you will risk too much. If you cannot control your fear, you will exit too early. If you cannot control your ego, you will refuse to accept when you are wrong. And these 3 things, greed, fear, ego, are responsible for most financial losses. Now here's something even deeper. The market doesn't create these emotions, it reveals them. They already exist inside you. The market just puts pressure on them. And under pressure, your true nature comes out. That's why 2 people can use the same strategy, but get completely different results. One follows rules, stays patient, accepts losses, and slowly grows their account. The other breaks rules, chases trades, tries to recover losses, and eventually loses everything. Same strategy, different psychology, different outcome. So if you are serious about making money, you need to understand this clearly. Your biggest advantage is not your strategy. Your biggest advantage is your discipline, and your biggest weakness is your inability to control yourself. This is why most people never succeed in trading, because they are trying to change the market instead of changing themselves. They are searching for better indicators, better signals, better systems, but they ignore the one thing that actually determines success, their mindset. And this brings us to something even more important, because understanding your mind is just the first step. The real challenge is how you behave when money is on the line, when real risk is involved, when real emotions are triggered. That is when your true test begins. And this is exactly what we will explore in the next lesson. Because knowing your weakness is one thing, but overcoming it requires a completely different level of awareness. In the next lesson, you will discover the most common money mistakes that even experienced traders continue to make. Mistakes that slowly destroy accounts without people even realizing it. And once you see them, you will never look at trading the same way again. In the first lesson, you understood something powerful, that the real enemy is not the market, it's your own mind. But here's where it gets even more dangerous. Because once your mind starts working against you, you begin to make mistakes that don't feel like mistakes. They feel logical, they feel justified, they even feel right. And that is exactly how most traders lose money. Not in one big decision, but in a series of small, invisible mistakes. In Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, the journey of Jesse Livermore reveals a harsh truth. It's not the obvious mistakes that destroy you. It's the subtle ones, the ones you ignore, the ones you repeat. The first of these mistakes is the need to always be right. Most people don't trade to make money. They trade to prove themselves right. They take a position, and the moment the market goes against them, instead of accepting the loss, they hold on, they wait, they hope, they convince themselves. It will come back, but the market doesn't care about your opinion. And while you are trying to protect your ego, your capital is slowly disappearing. Livermore understood this better than anyone. He said, "It was never my thinking that made the big money, it was my sitting." But most people misunderstand this line. They think it means, hold your position no matter what. No, it means, hold your winning trades and cut your losses quickly. But what do most people do? They do the exact opposite. They cut winners early and hold losers too long. This brings us to the second mistake, fear of losing profits. Imagine you enter a trade and it goes into profit. Slowly, your mind starts talking. What if it reverses? What if I lose this profit? And suddenly, you exit early. Not because your strategy told you to, but because your fear forced you to. And later, you watch the trade continue in your direction, but now you are out. This creates frustration, and that frustration leads to the next mistake. Revenge trading. You feel like the market took something from you, so you try to take it back. You enter another trade, without proper analysis, without patience, driven by emotion, not logic. And most of the time, this trade ends in a loss. Now look at what just happened. You didn't lose because of one mistake. You lost because of a chain reaction. Ego to holding losses, fear to cutting profits, frustration to revenge trading, and within a few trades, your account starts going down. This is why trading is so dangerous, because your mind creates a story that justifies every wrong action. It tells you, you are right, the market is wrong. But the truth is, the market is never wrong. Only your position can be wrong. Another silent mistake. Overtrading. Most people believe more trades equals more money. But in reality, More trades equals more mistakes. Every time you enter the market, you expose yourself to risk, and if your decisions are not clear, that risk multiplies. Livermore didn't trade every day. He waited. He observed. He acted only when the opportunity was clear, because he understood something most people ignore. Patience is a position too. And then comes one of the biggest mistakes: ignoring your own rules. At the beginning, everyone has rules: stop loss, risk management, entry conditions. But after a few wins, rules start to feel optional. You think, just this one time, and that one time turns into a habit. This is exactly how accounts are destroyed, not in one big loss, but in repeated small violations of discipline. So what is the deeper lesson here? The deeper lesson is this: most mistakes in trading are not technical. They are psychological. You already know what to do. Cut losses, let profits run, follow your rules. But knowing is not enough. Execution is everything, and execution is controlled by your mind. If your mind is unstable, your actions will be inconsistent. If your actions are inconsistent, your results will be unpredictable, and unpredictable results lead to losses. This is why mastering trading is actually about mastering yourself, because every mistake you make is not just a trading mistake, it is a reflection of your behavior. So before you try to fix your strategy, ask yourself, can you follow your own rules, even when it feels uncomfortable? Can you accept a loss without trying to recover it immediately? Can you stay patient when there is no clear opportunity? Because if you can't do these things, no strategy will save you. And this leads us to the next lesson, because understanding mistakes is important, but understanding why people keep repeating them is where real transformation begins. In the next lesson, you will discover the deeper patterns of human behavior, why people knowingly make wrong decisions, why emotions take control at the worst moments, and how breaking this cycle is the only way to survive and grow in the world of money. In the last lesson, you saw the mistakes: holding losses, cutting profits, overtrading, breaking rules. But now comes the deeper question. If people already know these mistakes, then why do they keep repeating them? Why does the same pattern happen again and again to different people, in different markets, in different times? In Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, the life of Jesse Livermore gives us a powerful insight. The problem is not lack of knowledge. The problem is human nature. Human beings are not wired for trading. They are wired for survival. And in survival, emotions play a critical role. Fear protects you. Greed motivates you. Hope keeps you going. But in the market, these same emotions become your biggest weakness. Let's understand this clearly. When you see a losing trade, your brain doesn't think like a trader. It thinks like a human trying to avoid pain. It says, don't close it. Maybe it will come back. This is not logic. This is hope. And hope is one of the most dangerous emotions in trading because it keeps you stuck in a losing position longer than you should be. Now look at the opposite situation. You are in a winning trade. Everything is going right. But suddenly your brain says, take the profit now before it disappears. This is fear. Fear of losing what you already have. So what do? You exit early. Not because your strategy told you, but because your emotion forced you. Now step back and look at this pattern. In loss, you become hopeful. In profit, you become fearful. This is completely opposite of what a trader should do. A good trader cuts losses quickly and lets profits run. But human nature does the exact opposite. This is why knowledge alone is not enough, because in the heat of the moment, you don't act based on knowledge, you act based on emotion. And this is exactly what happened again and again in the life of Jesse Livermore. He understood the market deeply. He knew when to act, but at critical moments, his emotions took control, and those moments cost him millions. Now here's something even deeper. Your brain is constantly trying to protect you from discomfort. Loss feels painful. Waiting feels uncomfortable. Uncertainty feels stressful. So your brain tries to escape these feelings by making quick decisions. You close trades earlier to feel safe. You hold losing trades to avoid accepting loss. You overtrade to feel in control. But in reality, these actions are not solving the problem. They are making it worse. This is the hidden cycle. Emotion to action to loss to more emotion. And unless you break the cycle, it will repeat again and again. So what is the solution? The solution is awareness. You need to recognize when your decisions are coming from emotion and when they are coming from logic. Because the moment you become aware, you create a gap between feeling and action. And in that gap, you have a choice to follow your rules or to follow your emotions. This is where real self-improvement begins. Not when you learn a new strategy, but when you learn to control your response. Because the market will always test you. It will create fear. It will trigger greed. It will challenge your patience. But it cannot control you unless you let it. And this brings us to the next level. Because understanding your emotions is powerful, but mastering your behavior requires discipline. In the next lesson, you will learn the one skill that separates successful traders from those who keep struggling, the skill that allows you to stay calm, stay patient, and stay consistent, even when everything inside you is telling you to act. In the last lesson, you understood something powerful. That mistakes don't come from lack of knowledge. They come from human nature. Fear, greed, hope. These emotions are always there. But now the real question is, if you can't remove these emotions, then how do you win? The answer is simple, but not easy. Discipline. In Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, the journey of Jesse Livermore teaches us one clear truth. Success in trading is not about being right. It's about being consistent. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It means closing a losing trade, even when you hope it will come back. It means holding a winning trade, even when fear tells you to exit. It means not trading when there is no clear opportunity. This sounds simple, but when real money is on the line, it becomes one of the hardest things to do, because discipline is not tested when everything is going right. It is tested when you are in loss, when you are uncertain, when you are emotional. Most people believe, I will be disciplined when I start making money. But the truth is, you start making money only when you become disciplined. Livermore had moments of brilliance, times when he followed his system perfectly. He waited patiently. He entered at the right time. He let his profits grow, and during those times, he made fortunes. But then, there were moments when he ignored his own rules. He became impatient. He took unnecessary trades. He tried to force the market, and slowly, everything he built started falling apart. This is the difference between those who succeed and those who fail. It's not about how much you know. It's about how consistently you can apply what you know. Let's understand this in real life. Imagine two traders. Both have the same strategy. Both have the same knowledge. Trader A follows rules, manages risk, stays patient. Trader B breaks rules, takes emotional trades, chases the market. After 100 trades, Trader A grows slowly, Trader B loses steadily. Same knowledge, different discipline, different result. This is why discipline is everything. Because the market doesn't reward intelligence, it rewards consistency. And consistency comes only from discipline. But here's something even deeper. Discipline is not just about trading, it is about identity, who you are. When no one is watching, when no one is forcing you, that is your true discipline. Do you follow your rules, even when it's uncomfortable? Do you stay patient, even when you feel like acting? Do you accept losses without trying to escape them? Because if you can do this, you are not just becoming a better trader, you are becoming a stronger person, and that is the real transformation. The market is not just a place to make money, it is a place that builds character. It forces you to face your weaknesses, your impatience, your lack of control, and gives you a choice to either repeat the same mistakes or evolve. So the real question is not, can you find a winning strategy? The real question is, can you follow it consistently? Because a simple strategy with discipline will always outperform a perfect strategy without it. And this leads us to the next lesson. Because discipline helps you survive. But to truly grow, you need to understand one more thing: how money itself changes your behavior, how success can become dangerous, and how the moment you start winning can be the moment you start losing. In the next lesson, you will discover the hidden relationship between money, success, and self-destruction. In the last lesson, you learn the power of discipline, how it protects you, how it keeps you consistent, but now comes a deeper truth, a more dangerous one. Because even if you become disciplined, even if you start winning, there is still a hidden risk: success itself. In Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, the life of Jesse Livermore shows us something most people never expect. Making money is not the hardest part. Handling success is. At the beginning, when you have little money, you are careful, you are focused, you respect every trade, because you know you can't afford to lose. But then you start winning, your account grows, your confidence grows, and slowly something inside you begins to change. You feel smarter, you feel more certain, you feel in control. And this is where the danger begins, because success creates an illusion, the illusion that you are better than the market. Livermore experienced this many times. He made millions. He became famous. People started following him, listening to him, and slowly, his confidence turned into ego. He started believing, I can't be wrong. And the moment you believe that, you stop learning, you stop questioning yourself, you stop respecting risk. This is the first effect of money. It doesn't just increase your wealth, it increases your ego. Now look at what happens next. Because ego changes your behavior. You start taking bigger risks. You start ignoring your rules. You start chasing bigger profits. Why? Because now, it's not just about making money, it's about proving something. Proving that you are right. Proving that you are better. And this is where most people fall. Because the market doesn't reward ego, it punishes it. One wrong trade, one emotional decision, and suddenly, everything starts going against you. But instead of accepting the loss, your ego steps in again. No, I can fix this. You add more money, you take bigger trades, you try to recover faster, and now you are no longer trading. You are fighting the market, fighting your losses, fighting reality. And the more you fight, the more you lose. This is exactly what happened, again and again, in the life of Jesse Livermore. He didn't lose everything because he didn't know how to trade. He lost everything because success changed his mindset. Now understand this deeply. Money doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are. If you are disciplined, money will amplify it. If you are careless, money will expose it. That's why some people grow wealth and others lose it, even after earning it. This is not a money problem. This is an identity problem. Who are you when you have power, when you have success, when you have nothing to prove? Because that version of you decides whether you keep your wealth or destroy it. And here's the deepest truth. The moment you start thinking, I figured it out, that is the moment you stop growing. And when you stop growing, you start falling. So what is the lesson? The lesson is this: stay humble, stay disciplined, stay aware, no matter how much money you make, because the market can take back everything it gave you in a very short time. And this leads us to the final lesson. Because avoiding mistakes and controlling success is powerful. But there is one last truth that separates those who make money from those who build lasting wealth. In the next lesson, you will discover the ultimate principle, the one idea that defines your entire journey with money and determines whether you win or lose in the long run. You've seen the journey, the mistakes, the emotions, the discipline, the rise and the fall, but now it all comes down to one final truth, a truth that most people realize only after it's too late. In Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, the life of Jesse Livermore is not just a story of money, it's a story of human nature. Because in the end, money doesn't change your life. It reveals who you truly are. When you have no money, you think, if I just had more, everything would be better. You believe money will solve your problems, remove your stress, give you control. But the reality is very different. When money comes, it doesn't remove your weaknesses, it magnifies them. If you lack discipline, you will lose it faster. If you are emotional, your decisions will become more dangerous. If you have ego, you will take bigger risks and fall harder. This is why some people earn millions and still end up with nothing, and others build slowly, stay consistent, and create lasting wealth. The difference is not strategy. The difference is character. Jesse Livermore made fortunes, but he also lost them because at times his character could not handle the weight of success. And this is not just his story. This is the story of every person who enters the world of money, because the market doesn't test your knowledge. It tests your patience, your discipline, your self-control. It puts you in situations where every decision feels urgent, every movement feels important. And in those moments, you don't act based on what you know, you act based on who you are. That is the final truth. So if you truly want to succeed, don't just focus on making money. Focus on becoming the kind of person who can handle money, build discipline. Before you build wealth, control your emotions. Before you control capital, stay humble, even when you succeed, because the market can give you money, but only your character can help you keep it. And in the end, winning in trading is not about beating the market. It's about mastering yourself. Because the moment you master yourself is the moment you stop chasing money and start building it the right way. If this story made you think, even for a moment, then don't just watch, don't just listen, because information alone will not change your life. Action will. So if you're serious about mastering money, about controlling your psychology, about avoiding the mistakes that destroy most people, then this is your moment. Hit that subscribe button, not for entertainment, but for transformation. Because here, we don't just talk about making money, we build the mindset required to keep it. And if you truly want to become better, stronger, and smarter with every decision you make, then join this journey, because the next lesson might be the one that changes everything for you. Thank you.